Hi there, I'm John Shields and welcome to Chesapeake Bites and our common table. And today we're going to make an authentic Chesapeake Oyster Stew right here in our kitchen. Let me show you how. Okay, so what I've been doing is I took some bacon and I'm rendering the bacon. What does rendering mean? It means I want to get the fat out of the bacon. So we have some beautiful bacon fat here. And I'm going to add some chopped onions and chopped celery to that. And we're going to stir it around. This may be one of the most beautiful aromas in a kitchen. Bacon fat, onions, and celery. You can't get better than that. And if they could come up with a potpourri, I mean, my God, we'd be in business. I might work on that. All right. So the thing to remember about a Chesapeake oyster stew is traditionally it's been a very simple affair. In the olden days, the watermen would be out, they were hungry, they had little devices they could cook on the workboats. So in the old days, they would just shuck oysters, kind of like these kind of oysters, put them into a pot, put some water in it, and that was their oyster stew. And then as we became more affluent and whatever, it turned into more of a milk, oyster, and butter affair. Okay, now what we have is, I love the whole smoky bit of the bacon in there. If you didn't want to use that, you could use just butter to do this saute thing. All right, in the meantime, while that's sauteing, we got some from South Mountain Creamery, some lovely half and half that we have going here. And then in another pot, you got a lot of pots going on here. So, okay, you ready? We got to be agile as we're doing this. Now look at these shucked Maryland oysters. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is put them into a pot here on their own. I just want the edges to curl up just a little bit. One thing you have to remember when you're doing oysters, you do not want to overcook them. I don't care if you're poaching them like we kind of are doing here, or if you're frying them, or if you're baking them. Don't overcook your oyster because you kind of ruin the whole thing. A lot of people from the Chesapeake are total purists and they say, the only way I can eat an oyster is raw. Well, you know, we've again evolved and we're actually cooking our oysters. So here we have this going very nicely with the butter, the bacon fat and our vegetables. All right, so we're just going to take a second here until our oysters start to curl right around the edges. I'll show you. All right. Our oysters are almost there. I can see they're just getting ready to curl around their edges. Back in another pot where we have our onions and celery cooking, I'm going to take just a little bit of flour and add that there. And whenever you're adding flour to any kind of oil or butter or bacon grease, just want to cook this for a couple of minutes to cook out kind of the taste of the flour. So you won't know that essentially there was flour in there. We're going to use that just for a bit of a thickening agent. All right, back to pot number 2, where we have our oysters kind of steaming and percolating a little bit. I'm going to hold this up here so you can kind of see the oyster is curling right around the edges. And that's essentially where we want to get it. Okay, so next I'm going to shut that off, okay? And then I'm going to take this, hold that, I'm going to pour this oyster liquor. Oyster liquor is some of the best stuff that you got. It's like super intense fish stock. I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to put the oysters aside. I'm not putting them on the heat. Okay, so we have that in here. Oh, that is good. All right, now we have a very nice hot milk here. And I'm going to start pouring that into our vegetable mixture, like so. Here we go. So this really is kind of the base of your oyster stew. Next, we want to season this up a little bit. So like about 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce is good. I'm going to put in just a little bit of Old Bay. I don't like to put too much in this. I like really the flavor of the oysters to come along nicely. Then I have some cayenne pepper. Just a little bit. You don't want to hurt anybody, but a little spice in this is great. All right. So as this thing is cooking, I'm going to also put just a pinch or 2 of salt. And I think, let's see what else we have. Oh, I have a little bit of white pepper. White pepper is interesting. You know, it gives a peppery flavor, but it's actually not even pepper. But a lot of people use it because they don't want the black flecks of pepper in their finished product. Okay, this is coming along very nicely. Shut this one off. We'll let that just come together for just a minute, and it'll thicken a little bit more. Okay. Okay, our broth has come together nicely. It's just thickened up a little. This is not supposed to be a thick stew. One of the things I'm also trying to do here, we're using half and half. You don't want to boil half and half. It's just you want to make it nice and hot. So I'm now taking our poached oysters in there. Have a little bit more of that absolutely gorgeous oyster liquor and broth. And I'm going to just stir all this together. Now, I would say maybe 1-2 minutes max. Again, we don't want the oysters to be cooked all the way through. We're just getting that curled thing. So it's a little cooked and it's a little raw. And our next step in 2 minutes is to put it into a bowl and you're ready to serve. Okay, our oysters are just about where I want them. I'm also, remember that bacon we started out with a long time ago? Well, it's nice and crispy. And I thought, you know, there's nothing quite like having a little bit of chopped up bacon to top this stew. Get some oyster crackers, whatever you like, and we'll go from there. So pretty simple. We're just going to take and ladle these big, plump, juicy oysters right into our bowl. And again, you know, this is the epitome of Chesapeake Bay cooking. It's simple and essentially lets the seafood shine through on its own. Take that there. Pinch of cayenne. And I'm going to give you a Chesapeake bon appetit. Let's eat.